Good morning, Paul. Well, here we
Morning,
are. It's
Tom.
the 8th of July, and England are victorious against Denmark. Woohoo! We're through to the final against the Italians.
Fantastic. What a
Uh,
night.
oh my god! Oh my god! My voice is still a bit sore. My children's voice is a bit sore, and as they stumbled blearily to school this morning.
Yeah, but I bet they had smiles on their faces though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, amazing. They don't appreciate that my life, well, certainly the last 30 years of my life hasn't really seen much tournament action.
No,
No,
no. Well,
they
certainly not a final.
no, no. So yeah, no, special times for English football.
Definitely, definitely.
Um, so we're going to talk. This is the sort of July and probably August update as well as we go into the summer. I think
Yeah,
we've both, Zoom fatigue is kicking in for us as it is, I'm sure, for our audience, and so we're likely to take August off. Um, but the channel's been pretty active. We've got some great content out from Covent Garden Market Authority.
yeah, yeah. Which we've started to publish, so there's more to come on that. But I'm watching those videos that are now public. It's great to see the numbers ticking up in terms of people watching them, but it's also just great to see, and I think you and I were talking about it, just what people say about that work, because I don't know any other way you would find out about, working, whether it's flowers, fruit or veg, working in a wholesale market, what it's really like.
Mm.
And so the one we posted yesterday, Aziz, he was saying, every day I learn something new, which means every day is different, which is a bit of a theme on our channel.
Yeah.
And he said, but the interesting thing about that is, one of the things that he said was, stuff, produce can still turn up and I don't know what it is. And and he's been working at the market for 2 years now, and he's still seeing new things.
Yeah, yeah. My favourite from that is Tony Glasgow.
Yeah,
The guy is third generation fruit and veg and merchant. The family started out on Portobello Road,
yeah,
and he's now got a very significant delivered wholesale business that supplies not just London, but he goes out into you know within probably a 50-mile radius of London.
yeah,
Um, he spoke very eloquently. I'd recommend anyone watching this, make sure you watch the Tony Glasgow interview. And the pride, particularly around lockdown, their business was turned on its head as all their customers closed. All the hotels, pubs, restaurants that
yeah,
normally buy the fruit and veg were closed. But he very quickly realised that there were people in London really struggling to get hold of food.
mm,
And he thought, well, I've got a warehouse full of food, a load of vans, and within 2 or 3 days, turned his business away from trade to a direct to consumer business, and they started feeding literally hundreds of thousands of people.
yeah,
And you can see the pride he
yeah,
took in that. He also mentioned that you know obviously NHS staff were given key worker status
yeah,
within 2 or 3 days of NHS staff being given key worker status. Him and his team and the wider Covent Garden market staffing were also all given key worker status, because the mayor of London recognised that
yeah,
London needs to eat, and
yeah,
him and his company and his team, his colleagues, were all part of fixing that problem, and they
yeah.
did it, and they did a great job. And watch the video. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
amazing,
definitely,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah, it's a great video, and again, where you're, and I like, my favorites of the ones that we've published so far is Zurab, and he was talking about, so he started off working as a receiver in either in a restaurant or in the restaurant trade. So he's the one that Covent Garden were selling to, and that's how he found out about the market. And so then he got a job on the market side. So then he's supplying the trade that he used to work for.
Yeah,
And just watching him, and a bit like Aziz, he talked about the different varieties of produce they get. But he also talked about because when you're supplying restaurants, you've got to have the best, the chefs want the best possible produce. And he said, my customers are just delighted, and knowing that they come to me because they get the best of the best. He said that, and you can see the pride in
Yeah.
in delighting his customers, and just the knowledge, knowing what that means on both sides of the trade and how important that is. It's just, where else are you going to get that depth of information, not just about the work, but about someone's relationship with work, which is that's what we do with people on work, and that's what we're shining a light on. And it's not that somebody watching our videos is sitting there thinking, I want to work at Covent Garden Market, or I want to work in a particular area. But it's when they see these things going on and learn about them and think, yeah, that's something that, that might mean something to me, or I could see myself doing that, or I'd get something from that. That's the moment we're chasing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the message seems to slowly be creeping out to a few people. I know we've had the first of Hertfordshire County Council's schools, or Hertfordshire Region schools, sending in content.
Yeah.
They've been invited to, but they've done it. They've run the program entirely themselves, which is fantastic. And it's that approach that we really need to help the channel scale.
Definitely, yeah. So a big, shout out and thanks to Stanborough School. And there's a few people we've been talking to there, Julie, Claire, and a couple of other people, and they've been contacting their former students. And so we've got 3 videos in their playlist, and they're talking to more former students at the moment. And the pennies really dropped for them, that this is their audience, and their students are really going to benefit from it. So they've done some great work, and there are other schools not far behind. So yeah, the word is creeping out, as you say.
I had a conversation a week or 2 ago with Activate Learning. They're
Okay.
an FE college. I'm not quite sure if you'd call it like a schools academy, but they've got a number of sites around Reading, Oxford, Guildford, I think. And I'd not appreciated the scale of these organisations. They've got 25,000 students.
Wow.
that are undertaking a range of courses across all sorts of disciplines. And their leadership team really recognises that People on Work is an incredibly impactful resource. It talks to students in a way that they find highly accessible. It's real world testimony, and absolutely inspirational. So we will soon hopefully be working with their careers leaders on bringing alumni content, which, as we know, is the starting point for or the sort of gateway access point for current students. But I'm hoping they'll be on board soon, and they're working at such a a vast scale. It will really build content and viewership quite quickly for us.
That's fantastic. I mean, 25,000 students. That's that you're thinking in terms of stadiums, then, aren't you? If with 25,000 people, which is fantastic. I think the other nice thing about that is with that cohort of students, they're going straight into work. A lot of them, aren't they?
Yeah,
so,
or they're on apprenticeships. About 10% of those would already be in work through apprenticeship
fantastic.
Scheme. So no, really nice fit, actually.
Brilliant.
Though it's interesting how the use case, or the the work that we're undertaking is people interpret it in their own way. And the example I give, I was talking to a lovely lady called Sabine North. She works at a charity called Be Free, which supports children carers. So these are youngsters under 16 that are in some way responsible for caring for their parents. Their parents are in some way incapacitated. Just in Oxfordshire alone, there are 12,000 children that they help, that they support, who are in some way taking
Right.
care of
Wow.
parents.
12,000.
And those children typically can have very low aspirations.
Yeah.
They tend to not perform as well as their cohort because of the caring responsibilities that they have to shoulder.
Yeah.
um, and Sabine's really keen to showcase some of the alumni, some of the kids that they've looked after in previous years that have gone on to make a terrific success of their life, and built on the skills that and the experience and that you know what they've learned through the caring experience, and they've managed to turn that into a range of career options, not just professional caring, which is a sort of natural fit for that type of person, but how it works into other ranges, into other industries or other sectors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing how these things come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you've been talking to someone about employee engagement.
Yeah, yeah. And this was on the back of the New Covent Garden Market work that we did. So talking to a company in, not too far away from where I am in Essex, and they are growing really fast, and they do lots of interesting things, and so they we've been talking what we've been talking about is how can we showcase the different roles and types of work that are going on within the organization. Some of them are quite complicated as well, engineering roles, for example, and also roles that and again, a bit like New Covent Garden, you might know the general area that someone's working in, but you don't know anything about the work they're doing, or what the people would say about that work. So that's something, and they've been watching our films, and that's making them more interested, because they're saying, okay, this could really work for us. And because they're growing as well, they're also hiring, and with a company, I mean, they're a big company, but they're also competing with even bigger companies like Amazon for people doing similar things. And so what they're really interested in with our films is to show a little bit more personality, and what it's like to work there, what kind of people we've got working there, and also then bringing the as we do, bringing the schools into the conversation. If you're working in a town or a local area, then the schools in the nearby area, there's a good chance you've got, if you've got kids, then you've got kids at some of those schools. And it's a way of, again, bringing work and industry closer to what's going on in schools, which as we know from talking to schools, the schools are really interested in. And so it's nice to be having that conversation at the company end, where they're saying we want to build better community links with schools in our area as well, because some of those students are are going to, well, we'd really like them to be ending up working for us. So yeah, some really nice ways that the work that we're doing is allowing us to see things from lots of different perspectives, but bringing those together because there's a real common interest there.
Excellent. Okay, well, I hope it won't be too long before Boris tells us we can go on holiday, and we'll do this again in September, and hopefully we'll both have walnut style suntans.
Yeah. Well, I might need a filter for that, but yeah, let's hope so. But yeah, so things traditionally go quiet, especially on the school side in August, because that everything is building towards the start of the new academic year in September. But we're still, even though we probably won't do an update, we're still here. So if you're at a school and you're watching this, get in touch, because we're still kind of in a place where we're interviewing. We're also planning for September ourselves as well. And if you're watching this, hearing us talk about New Covent Garden and the other things that we're doing for organizations, then we're definitely open to talk about that too. So and very happy to talk about it when we come back in September.